I tested 52 language apps to pick the top 5 for different language goals. As language learners, we are on different phases of our language learning journey and we have different goals. So we need the right tools to reach our goals as fast as possible. Without further ado, let's get started. There are hundreds of language learning apps out there, so how do you choose? After testing many of them, I realized that each app comes with its own strengths and weaknesses, and depending on your preferences and goals, different apps can be more suitable. For example, your current goal might be to learn more words versus getting speaking practice. In that case, if you get an app which is focused on speaking practice, you might have a lot of features you do not need. And there might be an app which is just much better at solving your specific problem. Speaking of vocabulary, if your primary goal is to learn more words and build up your vocabulary, then Anki is the best application for you. Anki is the OG of spaced repetition flashcards. I think the first version of Anki was published in the 90s. If you don't know what spaced repetition is, then I'll attach a link somewhere here to the video where I explain in more detail. But in a nutshell, spaced repetition is a system, it's a memorization system proven by science. What it does is that it calculates and schedules how often you should practice a specific word. So usually we just create a list and just review it whenever we feel like reviewing, but that is not the best way of learning words. In practice, you need to teach your brain to recall, to remember that word, even if you don't use it after a long time. So what spaced repetition does is that it increases the intervals between the review sessions. So you don't review the words too often, but also you teach your brain to recall it, to remember it after a bigger break. A pro tip about Anki is that Anki also comes with a lot of shared text. It means a lot of people have created their own list of words. Some people just copy those texts and start learning those words. I advise against that. It might seem convenient that you can just copy somebody else's deck and start learning it. However, there are two issues with that. First, it's very boring to learn somebody else's list. And second, which is more important, is that this list is not relevant for your goal, for your level, for your language learning journey. So the best way to build vocabulary is actually to learn words which are relevant for you. Whenever you're learning the language you're learning, whenever you're watching YouTube videos, reading something, or practicing speaking, whenever you discover those new words, just add them to your Anki deck and build up your own list of words. That is the best way to build up your vocabulary. And the second pro tip is that you never learn words without an example, without the context this word is used in. This is one of the most common mistakes. A lot of learners just learn the word and translation, but then later they do not know how to use that word in a sentence. Moving on to the best application for beginners. If you're just getting started, an absolute beginner, then the best application for you is Duolingo. It is friendly, it is gamified, it's free of charge. One criticism that Duolingo gets is that it's more like a game than a learning app. However, if you're a beginner, I think that's actually a good thing because the application is very, very sticky. I know so many people who are so proud of their 300, 500, and 1000 day streaks. So it's just great for building this daily habit of learning and practicing language, even for 5 minutes a day. The application is not deep. It won't get you to B1 or B2. However, it's amazing for the A1 level. It's definitely a good starting point, which will equip you with the right vocabulary and the basic grammar structures. And I also want to address one other criticism that Duolingo gets. There are a lot of memes floating around with some silly sentences that Duolingo teaches you. So a lot of people say that Duolingo teaches you nonsense. Let me clarify why they do that. You need to understand that learning a language is not only about vocabulary, it's also about understanding the grammar structures of the language. So whenever Duolingo gives you a silly sentence like I am a banana, it's not about teaching you the word banana. It's about showing you the structure of the sentence. So these silly sentences teach you to use structures like subject, verb, object, and teaches you grammar structures like I am, you are, he is. So yes, those sentences are silly, but because they're silly, you remember them. So you basically internalize and learn grammar indirectly without actually practicing the grammar rule. If you're not a beginner and speaking practice and speaking eloquence are your goals, then the most complete app for speaking practice is Heylama AI. So if you actually want to speak the language you're learning, then this is your app. There are many AI tutor apps. How is Heylama different? So Heylama's AI tutors and AI system is not just GPT in disguise. The system has been trained on over 1,000 hours of actual one-on-one lessons. So Heylama's AI tutors are the most knowledgeable and sophisticated language tutors out there. Speaking practice is very convenient. You can exchange text messages and voice messages. What is amazing about the application is that it gives you instant grammar feedback. Anytime you make a grammar mistake, which you're not supposed to do at your level, then the application gives you instant feedback. These grammar tips tell you how to fix the problem and also give you an explanation. And there's a section where all these grammar tips are saved so you can review them later. This way, just like Duolingo does, you are basically learning grammar in the context without doing any extra grammar drills. And the second very important aspect of learning to speak is vocabulary. Why Heylama is so exciting and powerful is because it also integrates the spaced repetition system, just like the Anki app. Here's how it works. Every day as you practice with the AI tutor, the system analyzes your messages and identifies the vocabulary you are missing for your level. And then later, you can actually review those words, and the spaced repetition system will create a unique schedule for each vocabulary. All in all, Heylama is a great app for speaking practice. It creates a safe space to experiment and make mistakes and learn from your mistakes. And in just under 10 minutes a day, you get 3 hours of speaking practice per month. Pro tip. Two kinds of learners benefit the most from the Heylama app. Number one, self-learners who want to maintain or advance their speaking goals. And number two, people attending language courses or learning with a private tutor. Usually, if you're attending a language course, have a private tutor, you get 1 to 2 lessons per week. A, that means that you're not getting enough speaking practice. And B, it might be that you're discovering a lot of vocabulary that you're not memorizing. So Heylama solves both of those problems. You can get as much speaking practice as you want between the classes, for example, to prepare for the next class, but also you can add your own vocabulary. None of the other AI apps let you do that. They just impose words on you. But in Heylama, you can bring your own words. You can just ask the tutor to add the words or just manually add the words in the words section. So that way you can bring all your words from all other sources into the app and have one single place to learn them. Speaking of teachers, if getting a private tutor is your goal, then I believe italki is the best platform. There are many tutoring platforms. I like italki specifically because they're more fair. Their terms are much better for the teachers. As a result, they attract better teachers. So no matter what you're looking for, a native speaker for conversation practice or a teacher with 20 plus years of experience, you will find them on italki. Pro tip, italki is the best if you're preparing for a language test. Having a private tutor from italki was the best decision when I was preparing for my B2 German test. I managed to get the highest score with just 2 months of preparation. Finally, if peer exchange, tandem exchange is your thing, then the best application is HelloTalk. Peer-to-peer exchange is not everybody's cup of tea, but some people enjoy it. And HelloTalk is like a social network for peer-to-peer language exchange. There you can find native speakers of the language you are learning who are learning your language. So you basically help each other to learn your languages. The app comes with a couple of very cool features to facilitate that peer-to-peer exchange. For example, real-time translation or some editing tools that they can use to give feedback the person you're chatting with, so you can give them some advice or fix their grammar or suggest some new words. HelloTalk is ideal for casual exposure and meeting language buddies. That's it, 5 applications for 5 learning goals. The best application for beginners is Duolingo. If vocabulary building is the only goal, is Anki. The most complete application for speaking practice with AI is Heylama. The platform to find private tutors is italki, and the platform for peer-to-peer tandem exchange is HelloTalk. Are you using any of these apps? And maybe there are actually other apps that you feel are better than the apps I mentioned. If so, please leave a comment and I promise I will review them in the future videos. Links to all 5 applications are in the description. Like the video and subscribe for more language learning tips. Have a beautiful day.